What's up guys, welcome to Blake's Garage. Today we're going to be installing new Koyorad Radiator into the 5th generation 4Runner right here. It's my 2016 4Runner. And you might be asking, well, why the hell do you need a new radiator? And the real answer to that is, I don't really need a new radiator, but what I do need is a new transmission cooler. And if you're aware, the transmission cooler is actually built into the radiator on the factory style. Now, why am I saying I need a new trans cooler? Well, I already had to replace the transmission in this 4Runner, and it wasn't fun. Let me show you what the oil looked like. This is it, right here. This is dark, black, and nasty. Basically not at all what you want your transmission fluid to look like. So, I'm actually gonna be running this Koyorad. This is a really nice, thick Koyorad oil cooler. Now you can use this for engine oil, you can use this for all types of fluids. This is their 19-row offering. Pretty dang sweet. It has these orifices right here, or the screw ends right here. So I actually had to buy these particular fittings. I just got these at Summit when I was in Reno, but you can see that there's actually an O-ring. This is the dash 10 orb fitting to a 3/8 barb. So that's all I'm gonna use on this. And it should make the installation pretty straightforward by just installing the orb fitting in here. You're gonna wanna have a wrench on the bottom half, and you're gonna wanna put some engine oil, if you will, on the O-ring and tighten that down. The other great reason to upgrade this is not only to prevent transmission failure down the line and keep your transmission cooler, but it also takes away that possibility that your engine coolant could actually mix with your transmission cooler because it's one piece. That's actually something that Toyota mentioned to me that was a possibility, and if that did happen, you would ruin your transmission. This eliminates it. But I wanted to show you guys that this thing is thick, it's heavy, it's very quality, and I highly recommend Koyorad's products. Let's see what this thing looks like. Wasn't 100% sure about this, if I needed to order this separately, but we do have a beautiful Koyorad Japanese radiator cap. Very big box on this. This is a very nice radiator. Wow. I think they wrap their stuff in, so cool to me. I don't know why. It's very nice. Koyorad sticker, of course, if you buy cool parts, it's gotta come with a cool sticker, right? Look at that, that thing is nice. I love how Koyorad paints their logo in the front. It looks so cool. Because of the air conditioning condenser, I don't think we'll be able to see the Koyorad as far as I remember. I think that's in front, but dude, so sick. So on the sides, you can see they are using some of the factory style plastics. You can see we have a little mount right here. There's some isolation with the little rubber fitting and the bolt and all that, which is great. You can see we have the factory fittings here, here, and here for that like top little valence piece. We also have a bung and a bolt here. Koyorad sticker on the side showing the inspection date. These little fittings are very nice. This aluminum little stub. And then we obviously have the drain piece, which is aluminum as well. I love Koyorad's products. They're so quality and nice, and it's not like polished or anything. It's just, you know, your raw aluminum. There's no need to polish stuff, really. It just makes it harder to keep clean in the future. Then we got that little embossed Koyorad logo. Things first, we're gonna go ahead and take off these little plastic tabs, all kind of along here, picking up just like this. Whatever, I guess this has been taken off before. Flathead screwdriver or like a pick or something like that. You're gonna be able to just pick those out of their area. Take this little plastic piece off now. Exposed the old stock radiator. So you can see here's the overflow tank to the proper level. You can see the full mark right there. A little bit of juicing out. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Maybe this thing doesn't make the greatest seal when you're off-road. I don't know, or it spit a little bit, but that's okay. Kind of design as the Koyorad right here. See how they did there, and see how the factory is. It's very, very similar. Standoffs as well, same as the Koyorad, which is great. You know, they take all these things into account. We also have the overflow drain, boom, right there. What I want to figure out first are my options for mounting the trans cooler. The actual radiator should be pretty straightforward and just a direct replacement, but this obviously requires some fabrication and modification. So where I first thought it might be good is kind of like if I had it up here, kind of thinking about making like some sort of bracket like that, just have that temporary, and then, you know, it'd kind of be up in there. However, what ends up happening, you go ahead and put this on, it doesn't fit flush, right? it's gonna hit. I would have to kind of cut this little area out. Now, I saw someone else do this. There's a little like online post from another shop, and this is where they mounted theirs, and they just kind of cut into here. Now, my issue with that is this is a factory ducting piece. This plastic does have an actual use. You might think, ah, it's whatever, it's just a piece of plastic, it's just a beauty cover. No, it's really not. What it does is it helps divert. You can even see, like, honestly, those ribs are for reinforcement. They probably also help directing with the airflow down here itself, because what we need is that high density air pocket to build up in the front here. And I mean, I've obviously changed the aerodynamics of the vehicle with this 4x4 Labs bumper, right? I have something completely different. So I need that high pressure zone so that cold air rams through the radiator and pulls through. Instead of, if you have this open, this just kind of circulates and can flow over into the engine, and it's not making proper use of your radiator. But what I'm probably gonna do here is move the horns down in this area right here. And I think horns and the cooler are about the same size, and it's very close to the steel structure right there. So I can pretty quickly make up some little like angled L brackets or something. I don't know, I'll probably just whip something up with some scrap steel that I have. I went ahead and removed the horn wiring. I'm kind of rerouting this sort of behind here. When I took this little bracket off the front here, which bolts up right there, that was, believe it or not, the only bolt that kind of held on this top part of my grill because of my aftermarket bumper. So literally that one little plastic tab right there, that's what's holding this grill on. So if this ever falls off, I'll kind of know why. These little tabs are basically broken. Just bending up a bracket, I went ahead and like rounded off this little piece right here. I got this, I'm gonna trim this off, but this should encompass kind of the whole trans cooler. Basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trim that piece off, but you can see right here, I will end up drilling a hole where I moved those horns from. So that will kind of be the support. This will obviously come down a little bit, and I'll drill out the two holes that go into the side of the cooler right there. So I'll put some bolts on there, and I will put some bolts on this side as well. We're gonna have that fully kind of cradled in there, and then I'm gonna make one more bracket down at the bottom here. I marked it, use a bandsaw, really just gonna Okay, so here's the bracket that I made real quick. Just kind of whip this up out of aluminum, and I spray painted it. After working on the bracketry way too long, I came up with that and this little twisty boy at the bottom. A little bit of deadening material in here, so like a little rubberized piece. That one's gonna twist down to the bottom of the frame. It's a very crispy setup. It should look pretty dang OE. You can see I have these dash 10 orbs right here. I gotta get these put in. The actual cooler, you want to go ahead and use a wrench around the open part right here. That way we're basically not twisting or applying any pressure on the actual oil cooler itself. This dash 10 orb, tighten up into here. I have an O-ring on it. Now go ahead and tighten up the other one. Motor oil, helping it get right down in there like it needs to be to get. All right. Is the Koyorad trans cooler. It is really solid in there. The thing is not going anywhere. So now I can hook up my fitting. Driver's side is the cool side. Passenger side is the hot side of the transmission, just so you guys are aware. Trans cooler I'll kind of set up. Go ahead and take the radiator out. So the first bolt is right here. 4 bolts on this. They should be 12mm. Grab that. They look like this. We'll set that aside. The bottom bolts are gonna kind of be right inside this little frame rail piece right here. So we're gonna stick a 12mm inside there kind of blindly, and those are the bottom 2 mounts. So I took the cap off, that way I can get some air coming down, and I'm just draining into here. I put a hose on the little drain piece right there, and it'll actually drain right down into a bucket, which is super nice, and we can kind of catch all the fluids. Gonna go ahead and remove the shroud from the backside, just a couple 10 mils. This thing has been real dirty before, I'll tell you what. What I want to do is pop this forward. I'll pop it out. Time to throw in the radiator right now. I went ahead and cleaned out my fan. There was so much dust in this. I literally had to clean it out with a screwdriver and pick all this dust off. This thing was just absolutely caked. That's looking good now. I'm gonna blow this out one more time with a blower. Then we will slide in the new Koyorad. So this thing just wiggles on down in here. It's looking really good. The radiator and all that. You can kind of just pop this up. This is the whole shroud section right here. And then I need to just go ahead and take out these bolts so we can bolt the shroud down to it. But man, this thing fits really nice. Slips in pretty easily. I am noticing a little less foam around this. So we may need to repack in some foam, but I don't know, it should be totally fine. Go ahead and make sure the slots into those little tabs down there below, those are all the way. This is what I'm talking about right here and right here. So we'll just put them on the tabs there and the tab right here. That looks good. That's great. Then we obviously got the radiator hose right here. So we could slide that guy on. It's a little dirty, but that's okay. So now obviously we are losing the provisions for trans cooler. So that's why we had to do the aftermarket trans cooler, but that's all good. In this bolt right here, we got that bolt there, and we will tighten down this one. Then we got one here as well. Hose right here. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Got 4 bolts to actually tighten down the radiator. See that little black tab that's right there? You just gotta slot that in. Finishing out my install video for the cooler. This thing has been working great. I've had it in the car a little over, I don't know, probably two months now or something. No issues with this whatsoever. This thing stays nice and cool, and you know, the cooler is working great. I love the fact that it's separated and all that. Just looks super clean in OE. You can see it just right down there, just kind of peeking through. Obviously you can't really see the Koyorad logo through it or anything, which is kind of a bummer, but hey, it is what it is. We got things in front. Now I did go wheeling the other day, and I did slam my chassis down on this thing. And it kind of scared me for this reason, and I wasn't sure because I hadn't crawled under here yet. Right here is where my skid plate stuff is, and you can see it dented the radiator right there. No leaks, which is amazing. That is awesome. Also right here, my skid plate, you can see I dented the radiator there a little bit because I slammed on this frame rail super hard. You can see right here. And maybe I'll just insert that clip real quick. Slammed on that, slammed here and here, and yeah, it did do a little bit of impact on that, but you know, did not bust the radiator. Now I could say if I had the OE one, maybe I would have cracked the radiator and that would have been all bad. So having that malleability of the aluminum is great there. And just keep in mind, I have the RCI skid plates and these little blocks right here with that, the way that bolt sticks through. Yeah, it'd probably be good if I trimmed that down a little bit, but you know what? It did okay. But yeah, I mean, it did do a little dent there, but it's all good. So loving the Koyorad radiator. We'll finish it up down here on the ground, man. Loving the Koyorad. It's been great. Temperatures are, you know, staying amazing. It was not hard to bleed or anything like that. We got their nice radiator cap on there, which is looking very, very nice. I think I just topped it off like once or twice the first couple days just to make sure it was good. I was maybe an inch low or something, that it drank a little bit more coolant, but yeah, altogether it was great. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll leave links down to the Koyorad radiator and trans cooler down below. Later, guys, and wrench on. Yeah.